Hello, everyone. Corrie here, coming in to do my weekly channel message. This is for the week of December the 13th, well, 12th. It would have started on the 12th and following us all the way through until the end of next week. And so this week in this message truly is one that is being given to me through this divine connection that I make the connection that I make with the divine, and the messages that have been given to me, many things that I write, many things that come out through my connection. And yeah, I can see I really look like crap today. But ultimately, where this message really takes me this week is one of really recognizing something of a spiritual disconnect. And always that sense of, and this is not a new quote, but they're finding that spiritual solution, finding spiritual solutions to everyday problems. And there's so many spiritual solutions to everyday problems, and we forget to look for spiritual solutions instead of really looking into what's wrong, what am I doing. A way to really recognize how far away we are from seeking spiritual solutions is to really look at the repeat cycles of habits and the way we respond at specific times of the years, different times of the year, about how we respond in situations, to conditions, to reactions and responses in different situations in our lives. And how many times do we go, oh God, what did that person do wrong? What did I do wrong? What's wrong with me now? Oh, there's, and so many things. And there's so many things that we depend upon for to be nurtured by, that is connecting us into divine, and we don't even know it. And other things are connecting us into our shadows, into the essence of our own darkness. And when we learn to differentiate between the two and where and what it is coming from. For example, when we start to have those shorter days, and we spend all summer like absorbing, like really truly absorbing the rays of the sun, absorbing that essence of divine natural ingredients that are here to help us to be able to grow. And then when we lose that sunlight, when that sunlight goes, then we find ourselves, feeling a sense of loss, a sense of disconnect. And that's when we kind of go into some repeat patterns and cycles. And when you look at life and see those things, it's like, what's missing from my life? Like, what's happening? And so you try to fill it up on the imposter light, on stories, on emotions, on things that are not there, or try to fill it up on substance. And that's when people say, oh, I eat healthier in the summer, I do better in the summer, I do. And it's like, so then when we don't have it, we try to find ways to be able to stimulate the same feeling. But that same feeling is an impossible task if it's not coming from the same source. And if it's not coming from the same source, then what we see happening is repeat patterns and behaviors in our own lives. We tend to be in those repeats. And when you recognize this and you ask for, guidance to find spiritual solutions to our problems, is that we recognize that a lot of these things really truly have been on repeat from our families, from generations and generations and generations. And that's when we start to be able to end cycles, make changes that we need to make, finding ways to be able to enhance and multiply the things in our lives that we need the most. And I myself, I feel this. I know this. I'm aware of this. I'm aware when it's happening to me. I know when something else is happening. I can pretty much mark the, what would be my go-to when summer is gone. Where I would, where I'd find myself getting lost. And so what gets lost in translation is the fact that the body really doesn't know the difference between what is filling it up, what's stimulating it, but our minds do. And our soul does, our spirit does. There's something in us that really truly knows the essence of that difference. But when we are lost in translation, we get mixed up in, and we're just so trying to find everything in the material world to provide to us everything that we need to be spiritually fulfilled within. And so we have this sense of loss. We feel lost. We feel disconnected. We feel like we don't belong. We struggle with emotions. We struggle with, trying to really regulate the emotions. There's so many things that play out. And a big part of this I speak about a lot in my spiritual depression classes that I teach. And so those are, that language is not the same as clinical. And I really, truly emphasize that it's not the clinical discussion. This is not, it's not about the clinical work. The clinical work is a very different work. And so when we look at our work from an energy healing way, and as an energy healer, is that if we see ourselves as energy, and we are all energy, and say summer months, you're getting filled with the energy of the sun. And now when the colder weather hits, not only is there less hours of the sun, but the amount of time most people will choose to spend in any amount of sunlight, natural sunlight, will lessen. Why will it lessen? Because of environmental reasons. We don't want to be made uncomfortable. We don't want to be cold. We don't want to be put out. But in the meantime, we will do things that are actually more uncomfortable than walking in the cold, than, stepping outside for 10 minutes. One of my morning rituals that I do pretty loyally right now, and I can't say, I'm going to say 80-20, because there's days that I've not done it and then I feel really crappy about it later in the day, is I literally go out in my robe and my slippers or my moccasins. I'll put my my moccasins on, and I'll go out and I will fill up my bird feeders. And there's a few outside, so it takes me a few moments, and it's cold and it's crisp. Sometimes I got to put a jacket over my robe, and it's cold and it's crisp. And as soon as I get out and I hear the birds chirping and the sun is shining and I can feel it, even if it's not visibly shining, it's cloudy, I am outside in natural daylight. I am in fresh air. I am breathing in the crispness of a crisp truth, a real truth, a real knowing, a connection to the divine. I will fill up the bird feeders. I will put out the peanuts. I talk to the birds for a few moments. I have a deck that wraps around my house, so I'll walk around the edges and I'll put peanuts on all corners, so that then when I do finally go back inside, and when I finally get back inside, what I'll do then is I can sit down, drink my tea, and then I can bird watch. And I can sit in the window and I can bird watch. And as I bird watch, I fall into a meditation, and I go into that place of being able to be in a place of enchantment. And so when we can find ourselves in a place of enchantment, that we allow ourselves to be in the essence of the divine enchantment, to just know that we get so lost in our stories and in trying to figure out what's impacting and affecting us without thinking, without really processing that we are energy, we're being impacted by the energy, and that there's so many more things that are at play other than just us. And so then we don't so quickly run off for comfort. We don't try to run into things. The other thing, that's really become really obvious is that intimacy starvation. Like, really start our intimacy and our intimate relationships and places have become these things. I'm tapping on something that's not here. These things right here on these computers, this social media, these type of places, and it becomes the greatest relationship that you have. And how it becomes the greatest relationship, because you're processing everything that you're always hearing and wondering, oh my God, I think I have this. I think this is what I got. Oh, I must have this. I must be, I have every one of those symptoms. I'm this, I'm that. I have to be this. Oh my God, yes, that's my mother. Yes, that's my father. Yes, that's the people in my life. So before you're even back out, you've already created a whole narrative, a whole story, a whole reason to worry and to be stressed. And I said to a friend yesterday in a message, I'm like, you just create, I said, you just create ways to be able to stress yourself out so that you got a reason to worry. So you look at everything that's going on and you don't for one moment stop and tell yourself, and I know she's going to be listening, and you don't stop and tell yourself that there's a really good possibility we're going to be okay. There's a really good possibility I'm going to be fine. But we don't go to that possibility. We tend to go to the possibility of, I'm so stressed out, this is happening, and this is what I know. It's like, who's speaking to me? I mean, you realize how dark the voice is that's sometimes speaking to us, that wants us to return to our stories, to get back to the comforts. It's amazing how many things that you start to say, okay, I'm not listening. And when you can say, I'm not listening, and when I said this, it's like, so everything that you're worrying about is you're creating something that hasn't happened. It doesn't exist yet. So if it doesn't exist yet and it's not here, all you know is right now you have you have one little problem that could possibly, maybe could get worse, but what if it gets better instead of worse? Why is it so easy to go to fear than it is faith? Why is it so easy to tell ourselves, why is it so easy to get caught in the imitation, and it's so hard to stay in truth, to stay in true light, to stay in the divine? Why is it so easy to get over there? And it's because we look for human solutions. We look for lower energy solutions instead of higher energy solutions. It's like eating a bag of chips versus a banana, right? It's the same type of thing. It's what we feed ourselves and what we feed into and what we buy into and what becomes that bigger part of us. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not things that need a deeper sense of knowing. We have a very blended and very sense of knowing that everything within our human also has resources that are great energy, great tools for us that have taken great energy to create. And they have come from a sense of a connection to a higher wisdom, a higher knowing, when an aha moment comes in that brings in solutions and helps us. But that comes from spirit, right? But where we lack, and what we're definitely lacking, is in that sense of starving ourselves of the most valuable things that we need. And the things that we need the most are the things that connect to the aspects of our spiritual identity, our truest of truth, the connection to the soul's why, to why it came, to come to teach the humanity really about what love really means and what love really is. And love is just a word to us, and love comes with a lot of conditions. Well, as does many other things. It really, truly does. We have a lot of conditions on the placements of people in our lives. We have a lot of conditions and expectations and goals and plans that we set out for ourselves, and we must reach them, must do them. And if it doesn't look just like I want it to, then it's absolutely, it has to go. It is somebody else's problem. It's not working. You don't fit, you don't belong, and it has to go. There is so much of that conversation that is led by the dark forces within us that holds us hostage to believing and being caught up in a story that is not really our truth. And I really want you to really revisit this for yourself this week and to really take a good look. Now, I do have another message, and I'll bring it in as a part 2, but I had to get this out before I started my next session, so that I wouldn't lose it in sharing it only in one place when it was meant to be shared on a bigger scale. So much love, and follow the video that will come after this. Please subscribe and hit the notification button to really support this channel. If you're only watch the videos and you're not subscribing, we're not able to grow these channels. We're not able to get to that point where, where I can spend 99% of my time giving you more content and doing more of this work. So, so subscribe, and yeah, I'll be back with another. Hey everyone, Corrie back again. I recorded a part 1 and now recording a part 2. I may just blend them together. So if you're watching this video and you're wondering what's going on with Corrie, she's talking about part 1, and then part 2 is already in the same video. This is why. So there will be like a splice. And the reason why I'm telling you is because I do not edit out these channeled messages. As they are is how they go out. So there will be no taking anything out or adding anything in. I just put them together, and it's because you can't mess with the channeled messages. The moment that you start putting ins and outs and taking things in and placing things the way that you want, trying to perfect them, you're messing with the channel. And so, you're messing with the divine messages, and just trusting the message and trusting what's coming, and learning the process doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be honest and authentic to what is really coming, to move all ego aside. And so the first part, I spoke a lot about, just watching these repeat cycles and habits and behaviors, and how we're influenced and affected by the changes and where we're getting our source, like what is feeding us, what we're feeding into, where we're getting our nutrients from, where we're getting nutrients. I'm not a health practitioner. It's so where we are getting our where we're getting our nurturing from, what is nurturing us, what is supplying us with what we need, what are we feeding ourselves energetically, and where are we powering up from, what is that powering up source. And so that's been coming up everywhere for us. I'm just moving cards around I don't know if it's cards, or as I'm listening for the channel and what they want in the second part, why there was 2 parts to this week's message. So there is a very big divine presence right now. And I just can feel the sense of just knowing, and I can see the presence of the divine everywhere. And there is this light, and it's like a light show. And everywhere I look, there's a light show. Everything is lighting up. Everything is becoming brighter. Everything's becoming clear. I can see through things in such a way that it's almost feels a little bit disturbing, because it's like I can see through all illusions right now. And as I'm seeing through these illusions, as if I'm in this warped energy, and as I'm seeing through this warped energy, it's been happening now for a while. It's like, as people are even talking, what they're saying is not what it's like, it's not even what I'm even hearing. Like, I'm hearing the thoughts come out, even though they're not saying them, they're trying to hold them back, but it's not what they're saying. It's a very different kind of energy, and it's a different time. But we do have a lot of that angelic realm. We have a lot of beings here, but we also have, this is December the 13th, it's being recorded, but it's for like the 12th to 13th. So we also have I believe it is a big solar flare that is coming, like the 13th, 14th, like a lot of solar flare energy that's going to be in certain specific areas, but energetically, it has a big impact on us, and we're feeling that energy. And so with that, I just feel like there's coming in is a council, a team. The Magi are very much with us right now, the wise ones. And so the wise ones are with us. And that's why I'm so open. That's why I'm hearing things so differently, is my ability to be able to connect to the wise ones and being a part of the wise ones, in the way of, in the Akashic records, and being, throughout times, being connected to the wise ones. And there's wise ones that's bringing us many opportunities to gain wisdom from what we feel and what we're experiencing, what we're going through, and to not to allow the emotions to get in the way, to override what we really truly need to know about moving forward. We have a lot of shift in from misery to happiness. I want to say from misery to happiness. And so what that means for the energy and how I see it, it feels as if there is a sense of, there is a gap, an opening, where we get this spark of happiness energy, like just this excitement. But right now we still have retrograde going on. We still have that Mars and retrograde energy. So it still feels like you could be very frustrated one moment, and then the next moment you're like, oh, it's okay, I got it. And then the next moment you're like back again. So you're still probably like pendulum swaying back and forth between telling yourself one story, stuck in one energy, and then over here, all of a sudden you're like happy and bouncing off the walls and all excited, and then poof again, poof again. And it's like, it's back and forth. And it's really about being able to create a balance, because we're, a big part of being able to create a balanced life is to not to be so much in that up and down, but to flow into the consistency, to recognize what is happening, what we're feeling, what we're sensing, what we have going on, and to just be able to breathe into things and not make choices and decisions, whether we're all the way over here or all the way over there. When we're all the way in the extremes of one, like anxious and all over the place, or we're all the way over here and we're in happiness and joy and we're bouncing off the walls. We're like, oh, I'm going to do this in the world. I'm going to do that. It's like, yeah, no, maybe you should just slow down. Maybe you should just really think about things before you reach out, before you speak, before you like really think about things. And it's saying, like pause for a moment and reflect, but not saying to stop, because it is a good time to start to allow ourselves to create in this energy. And moving forward and coming into and we're in Sagittarius energy right now, so we're in a fire energy. So we do have a lot of that fire energy that's very present, but we also have coming into the new year. We have a big shift coming in as well for there to be a sense of hope. And so there is, and so the Magi, the wise ones, is bringing in that sense of hope. So some of this happiness and this excitement that we're feeling is a sense of hope. And that hope is being restored as we're also over here in the sense of also feeling this like dragging down energy, this pulling down energy, but hope. But over here, there's hope. Over here, there's hope. So in your own existence, in your own world, bring that into you, and bringing it into you and bring it directly into you is to really, truly contemplate what it is that you are really hoping for. And, what outcome is it that you're hoping for someone else to do something that really changes and rocks your life? Are you hoping for, a different outcome? Are you hoping for some sort of connection, some sort of bonds? But in the meantime, you have to be very aware, what stories are you telling yourself that's keeping you from having that? What's keeping you from being able to have those bonds and those connections and those relationships? And I've been saying this for a while. This is going to be the year. And I feel like December is exposing if you like really exposing the passed down kind of generational habits of negativity or fear or those type of things, and that has caused our isms, that has caused our our addictions to certain things. And I just feel like we're seeing a really reveal coming in. We're seeing people be very caught in their minds or really caught up in their energy, and it's because that imitation light somehow Jezebel, and I just feel like it's like banning Jezebel. I just had to say that. I don't know why, but I just had to say that. And so I just feel like this coming year, you're going to see a lot of people really start to want to put their emphasis into really, truly getting the healing, getting the treatments, like really getting really honest with themselves about getting the help that they need, or the guidance that they need, or the direction that they need, or whatever it may be. But I just see people getting clean, and just seeing people coming into this place of like, sovereignty and being sanctified in their, and I always speak about sanctified in one of my writings, and I'm like, I'm always talking about sanctified, and that sense of being sanctified, just having that sense of grounding, the sense of knowing, that sense of divine spirit, the divine essence that exists within us, to know it, to just, it's like the power. There is the power. I'm going to say this the way that I'm hearing it. And if you don't like the words, change the words to something that is less triggering or less affecting you, it is the power of God that is coming in and stepping into the hearts and into the minds and into the bodies of people that have been struggling for years. And it's as if we are going to see miracles on earth, and we're going to see people be able to come into. But before that, I feel like we see a lot of that stars falling. We see a lot of people just really, truly, like, kind of even losing, like letting go of people in their lives because they're just so caught up in a narrative and they can't see. And I'm like, but in the meantime, over here in this hope, I just feel like there is going to be a year, and it's right now, this week, the energy feels like it's really starting to stir this up, so that it kind of brings to the surface the habits and behaviors that follow every season, that follow on a continual basis, that you watch in cycles, that you recognize, that and just being able to release them, but also being able to learn the power of prayer and learn the power of asking and requesting for guidance, for help, and also not being afraid to sit and listen to what you need to hear sometimes. And sometimes we need to hear the hard stuff. And so when people hear this message, they're probably automatically going to think about the one they're always trying to fix, or the one they're always trying to make their life better, or the one they believe that they were the gift in their lives. But that's not the people. It's not always the people. It's the ones that believe that they're the ones that are always the ones that are doing that have to do the things for them. Because a lot of those stories have kept people from being kept stars from shining, and people from being allowed to be who they really are. And there's just going to be there is such a auspicious energy. There's such an auspicious energy. There's such a shift that is happening. There's such a knowing that is going on, and such an awareness. And I got Vedoma, I got the soul connection. And it's just the connection to our own soul, to our own essence. And I feel like the more people that bring this spirit back into this connection to spirit, that decide to really truly start to come home to themselves, to really start to listen to that soul, is that it's going to be that call and the power of God consciousness, creator, source, divine, I don't care what you call it, really truly stepping in and stepping up, turning the lights on in people. And I just see people turning the lights on, that we're gifted, that we're treasures in this world. And the world around them just loves to stomp people down. The soft people, the creative, the artistic, the gentles, the dreamers, the imaginative people, like in their whole lives, they've been told, you can't be this, you're not supposed to be this, you can't, that's just stupid, that's dumb, this is what you're supposed to do with your life, you need a real job, you need to do this. And I just feel like you're just going to see lights coming on, and just knowing that that's not really the truth. And yes, we need jobs, but that, everything of how people try to turn off the light in this sense of, I'm giving you the best life, I'm going to create the best life, like I know what's best for you. No, you don't. And if you did, we'd be living our best lives, right? And so many of us amazing lights never always got to live the best life, and many did. And so I'm not saying I'm rechanneling through. So there's many we's out there in the world. And so there's much of this energy that is just saying that there's going to be a light coming on, inspiration, being inspired from the inside out, to really acknowledge that I just can't do this again. So a lot of the things that you can't do and can't bring forward into your 2023 habits, behaviors are really being exposed in people, really being seen. And it is actually, when people thought they were connected to spirit, they really weren't. And it was surface connect. This is deep connect. This is deep connect, because there is the layers, right? To get to the God consciousness, you got to get through it's like the jawbreaker. You got to get through the realms. You got to get through that layers. You got to get to that place of where you finally have no vices over your virtues. And when you have very little, or when you have more of the clarity around the power of the virtues and less around the vices, and less vices, less excuses, a lot less whys. It's the same reason why we do things like, oh, well, it's okay now, it's acceptable now, so we can do it. And it's like, and it's like, you're going to really see a shift there. And as the lights come on in people, I feel like you're going to see more authenticity come out. You're going to see more happening. So you may be experiencing something in yourself and you're like, what's going on with me? And you have to really, truly use discernment to see if it's your authenticity, or if it's those parts of the old self that are trying to leave, that are trying not to leave. And you're probably experiencing it in people in your lives as well. And you may be seeing this in people in your lives, and just that raw exposure of whatever it is that has been secret, that's been hidden, they've been hiding. I just feel like you can't hide anymore, because as the lights come on, you can't hide. It's like being at a party and you're drunk. When you're drunk, everybody looks, and everybody else there's more drunk than there is sober. But when the lights come on, it's pretty obvious of who's drunk and who's sober. It's the same thing, is the lights are coming on. And as the lights come on, we're just going to really see this reveal and this big truth. And yeah, I just see things happening. And just knowing that this is a soul journey, and it's time for our connection to our soul. And so you may require patience with yourself, with the people in your lives, with everyone that's around, because it is a jump around kind of energy, and we're jumping around everywhere. And there's a lot of jumping around that's happening. We have seen a lot of disturbances in weather, a lot of disturbing weather patterns. We've seen a lot of volcanoes. And when those volcanoes erupts, there's the fire goddesses just coming up and out. And it just feels like there's just like it heats things up, and there's just like this heat, and the things are being heated up, and there's an evolution, not a revolution. There's an evolution that's happening. And the evolution that's happening is that evolution that Mother Earth just cares for herself. And there's an evolution that is just happening in our emotions. There's an evolution that's happening for humans. And there is an awakening and awareness that is happening to the fact that just like within ourselves and all the things that just don't really sit well with us, that behaviors, actions, childlike behaviors and stuff we have, the same thing is being exposed on a world scale, and we're seeing it world. And we're going to see a lot more collapses yet of big establishments, big places that are just not working. And it's like, and so we're really seeing that's going to really truly still crumble. There is a lot to yet be exposed, and there is a lot more to come. And I just feel like it's that fight to always constantly, and I just feel like there's going to be some sort of shockwave of energy that's coming through. And I don't know if it's this week or if it's like before or during Christmas holidays, like during that, before the new year. I feel like this is before New Year's. I get this shockwave of energy, something that's going to shock and jolt, and it's going to be felt in a big way. And it's going to be felt in a big way throughout, much of the world type of thing. Like it's really having an impact. And it really gets us to sit and shut up and pause and really truly look at what really is important to us, what matters the most to us, and really truly getting some clarity on our values, on what's important to us. And that's kind of just like this energy. It just is. And so there is just this real powerful sense of the energy where there's hardly any words. I don't even know what to say to any of this, because but become an observer of your own self and how you are showing up and correcting your own course as you're going. We have the stargazer, we have Frida coming in, and she's a 4, and she's on top of the world. She's all light. She's recognizing she's all the sense of the higher self. So the purple and the white represents the third eye, and it represents the crown chakra. And this represents living as that sense for a higher self. So she's in the connection to the higher self. The higher self can truly be much wiser than our emotions and our essence of our history and our previous experience, of our unhealed wounds, or our childlike aspects of ourselves, the shadow essence of ourselves, our emotions. Our emotions has great importance to us, but this great wisdom, that comes in from getting to a higher self, getting to that place where, where we override our mind's ability to be able to create stories that tie to the emotions, that creates the why, but to be able to get into truth. And out here in the universe speaks a truth that has no picture. It's not like a TV screen. It's not like a social media screen. It has no voice. It just has truth. And it has some really, really truth. And I just feel like we're being able to see some truth, becoming an observer of our lives, really recognizing this, and then liberation and timeless treasure. The most timeless treasure that we all seek is that to be liberated, to be free, to be no longer tied to stories, but yet we keep looking for ways for entrapment, to entrap ourselves emotionally, to entrap somebody else emotionally, to get caught in time. Like now we're adding like all this stress onto ourselves. Oh my God, it's only this much time before Christmas. I got to do this. I got to do that. Well, what's really going to change and what's really going to matter, right? And so what is valuable to you, what really truly matters, and getting clear on that. And then our soul connection, which is Vidoma, is just that whole essence of, the curtains are open. She's through the veil. She's walking through the veil. She's walking like the red carpet of her life. And she just knows, and here's this beautiful ball. And this is that essence of the crystal ball, but it's that of, what am I looking into? What am I looking into? And through whose eyes am I looking? Through whose eyes am I looking? And through whose stories am I existing? And where do those stories come from? And how much of my underdeveloped emotional sense, my moments in life of where I never got the nurturing that I needed to allow my emotional moments to go from beginning to end. It was just like I had to stop them, stall them, and to be able to, where and how many times in life did that happen? It's like, you didn't have that sense of somebody talking you through your emotions, guiding you through your emotions when you weren't allowed, or what you didn't have that, you weren't given the permission to be free. So your inner authority, your inner self, the inner knowing, that personal authority with self was like just having to really truly shut down, suppress, keep it in. But in the meantime, as you adulted and you evolved into this adult, is that then you had the free will permission to give yourself permission to let that child run free. It's like the child who doesn't get any not just discipline, but any structure, and not being given any clarity on how to behave. Well, once you become an adult and you let your inner child out and let it run wild without any structure, it becomes that essence of, it becomes destruction, it becomes a rebel, it becomes like a whirlwind, and it doesn't have that sense of knowing that it has the ability to sit and to listen and to observe, or to be able to use a sense of discernment. And all of that leads to what we call the unhealthy attitude, right? And so there is a lot of unhealthy attitudes that we're seeing in ourselves, that's being revealed, that's just around, that's just being acknowledged. And it's being brought to the surface, not for you to kind of get yourself into, but to say, that's not really my truth, that's not really who I am. But I know this about myself now, or I'm starting to figure this out about myself. And there's just a big shift, and it's everywhere. And it's coming because it's turning the lights on. So there's great wisdom, and we have the gifts. And I just feel like there's just so many things that are being gifted to us through our ability to become an observer right now, and to observe things the way they are. And as we move forward and we come into the new year, it just fills me with hope to know that so many people are finding that there's going to be so many people finding their way into a higher sense of self, connecting to that higher self, as if, like I said, God, creator, source, whatever you want to call it, just the power of the divine is stepping in, and the lights are just coming on, and people are just finding their way beyond and into a healing and into a healthier way of being. And I just feel like that's going to be the call coming into 2023, is a healthier living, healthy mindset, and starting to really connect back to nature, getting back outside and caring. Like, remember, it's like a child going into grandma's house. If you go into grandma's house, respect it, don't move anything, don't touch it, leave it alone, and let it care for itself. But also knowing that we also have to exist, and we also have to have jobs, and we have to have a real adult life, and it matters, and we have to care for future generations. So we have to create balance. So I feel like it's like we're going to start recognizing that we need a healthy dose of kind of everything, but done in healthy perspectives, in healthy ways, and finding a healthy way so that we can keep evolving and growing. So that's our message. I hope it resonates in some way with you. So be aware of your own self, and just kind of learn to be able to just chuckle at yourself sometimes. Much love. Have a beautiful week, and I will see you soon. Oh, one last thing. Forecast readings. So you can purchase your own 2022 forecast reading. They are available now on my website. So if you want to purchase one, do jump on board and get one of those. They're not going to be around much longer. They're only available until the end of December, maybe till after the summit. And then they're going to be gone. And also my emailed readings are still available, and I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be there. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those in the new year yet. So you can also still purchase those. These are available. And I did just open up the January appointment book, so there is some openings. Also, the summit. We have our massive online summit with 12 presenters that is coming up January the 7th. And it is 12 powerful, dynamic speakers that are coming to speak about empowerment, transformation, spirit, angels, all things magical, tapping, Reiki healing, decks of cards, like oracle cards, the 7 laws of, the 7 keys, and so many other things. I'm just having a little mind blank now. But it's an amazing opportunity. It's only $29.95 to get in there for the full weekend, event. Other than the evening on the Saturday evening, there is a separate event at 5 o'clock, and that event will be a live mediumship that will be 2 hours, which will be myself. And that's a separate event on the Saturday night. So on January the 8th. And then I will be along with one of my colleagues and soul sisters and one of the sisters of More Than Existing. We will be doing a live event in Leduc, a 2-hour event on the 21st. It's a Saturday night, and that'll be 7 to 9. And those tickets are on Eventbrite. So you can go to my website you can go to my Facebook page, and you can see all of the events there, and you can see all the things. You can also go to the website, CorrieThorne.com, and everything is also there. So many things happening, many things coming up. If you haven't purchased my book, then you can also get my book. This is my second book, My Truth of Existing Beyond the Reflection, available on Amazon. And the first one is More Than Existing, and that's also available. So, yay, that's my spiel. If you like my page, please subscribe and hit the notification button, and you'll get all the notifications of when I am going to be posting a video or coming in live. So much love. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.